Hi everyone, and welcome back to my kitchen. You guys already know how much I love blueberries, and today I wanted to share with you my double blueberry vanilla scones. These bakery style scones are so incredibly delicious and packed with fruity flavor. We're going to be using some fresh juicy blueberries, some dried blueberries, add a little bit of vanilla extract in there, and then finish the scones with some sugar crystals. These look incredible, they smell incredible, and they taste even better. They're perfect with a cup of coffee in the morning, on a weekday, on the weekend. They're super easy to put together so you can enjoy them any time of the week. Let's get started. I'm going to show you how to make these delicious treats. Today I'm going to get things started with the dry ingredients and the butter first. We need to combine the flour and the butter together until they form like this crumbly, grainy mixture. The easiest way to do that is to use a food processor. It makes the process super easy. You can also use a little pastry blender like this, and if you don't have either one, you can even use 2 large forks and blend the flour and the butter together. For this recipe, we'll need 2 cups of all-purpose flour and 1/4 cup of white granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Mix that all together, and I'll transfer my dry ingredients into the food processor. Next, I'll be adding in 1/2 cup of ice cold unsalted butter. I cube this into small pieces and then I place this into the freezer for about 10 to 15 minutes. You don't want the butter to melt into the flour, you want it to kind of blend together and create a grainy mixture. Add in the butter, and then we'll pulse this together until we have a grainy mixture. And now let's prep the wet ingredients. I'm going to add in 1/2 cup of sour cream into my mixing bowl, 1/4 cup of heavy cream, 1 egg plus 1 egg yolk, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm going to grab a whisk and whisk this all together for about a minute until I have a smooth mixture. I'm going to add in a little bit of my dry ingredients, not all of them, and then grab a whisk and mix this together just so that we could start the dough. Add in the rest of our ingredients and mix this together. I've mixed in all the flour, and you don't want to over mix the scone batter. Just mix it until the dry ingredients are well incorporated. It's going to be a little bit sticky. Next, I'm going to add in 1/2 cup of dried blueberries and 1 cup of fresh blueberries, maybe even 1.5 cups. Sprinkle a little bit more on there. And then we'll mix this together. You want to be really gentle so you don't squish all the berries, but make sure you get them well incorporated into the batter. I've lined my work surface with a few pieces of plastic. I'm going to grab my spatula and just transfer the scone batter right onto the plastic wrap. And then just shape it into a disc. Flatten out a bit, just like that. Add a few more berries on top. Next, I'll grab some sugar sprinkles, and we're going to sprinkle of this over the top. And then when these bake, they're going to have this really pretty finish on the top. And then wrap the plastic over the scones, just like that. And my blueberry scone dough is ready to go into the refrigerator. It's going to chill in there for a minimum of 1 hour, or if you want to make this recipe ahead of time, just make sure you wrap the dough real well and you can keep it chilled in the refrigerator overnight until you're ready to enjoy them. And once our scone dough has chilled completely, I'm going to unwrap it and grab a sharp knife, and we'll portion the scone dough into 8 pieces. And now let's transfer these scones onto our baking sheet. I'm going to be using a large baking sheet lined with a silicone mat today, and just space them nicely apart. And my blueberry scones are ready for the oven. I've preheated mine to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. They're going to bake for about 30 minutes or until they're a rich golden brown color on the top. We'll come back to dig in and enjoy these. My blueberry scones are straight out of the oven, and how good do they look? I wish you guys could smell these through the screen. I forgot to mention I sprinkled on some more sugar granules on the top so you could see them a little bit better. I'm gonna let these cool down for a good 15 minutes and then we'll enjoy them. And check out these blueberry scones on the inside. Aren't they incredible? They're just dotted full of those juicy, plump blueberries, and you have the dried blueberries in there as well. This is blueberry heaven. And that's it for my blueberry scones recipe. For the full list of ingredients and my website link, make sure to head on down the video description box. I've got all the information down there for you. Meanwhile, let's dig in to enjoy these. These scones turned out so perfect and they smell so incredible. I wish I could translate the aroma through your screen right now because it's so, so good. These are incredible. Now, when I take them out of the oven, they're a little bit fragile, so I let them cool on the baking sheet for a good like 10-15 minutes, and then use a little spatula to take them off and onto a wire rack to cool completely. So good. I mean, check out all the blueberries in there too. These scones are so incredibly delicious. They are my ultimate food weakness. If you want me to cheat on a diet day, bring me some scones. These are just so incredible. So much flavor. I love the blueberry flavor. Just wow. These are hands down the ultimate, the best bakery style blueberry scones ever. They are just so buttery, flaky, filled with plump, juicy blueberries, and I love the light hint of vanilla in there. I also really like that these aren't too sweet. We added just a 1/4 cup of sugar into the batter, sprinkled on a little bit more sugar on top, and it's just perfect. The blueberries add all the sweetness you need. They add all the flavor. These are just incredible. I recommend dropping everything you're doing right now and making yourself a batch of these. You're going to thank me later. They're so incredibly delicious. Thank you guys so much for watching this recipe. I hope you enjoy them as much as I do. I know you guys are going to love them, and I'll see you next time with a new recipe.